Hi, we're back. We're live. It's Dave, the IT guy. Hey, tonight we're going to talk about certifications in the security field. So, let me see if I get this straight. You want to be a part of that computer field, right? You want to do that computer thing, but you're not sure what part of that computer thing you really want to do. Well, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. So, maybe you're fresh out of high school, coming out of college. Maybe you're an adult that's been in the military and you're trying to figure out what new career you're going to be in, right? And you think, I'm going to get into the computer field. Do you have any idea yet what part of the computer field you want to be in? You know, we've got software programmers, we got networkers, we got wireless people, you got hardware engineers that build the hardware, like soldering on the components on a motherboard. We've got integrators that takes technology from one thing and technology from another thing and makes it work together. We've got people that their only job is to secure it, right? Security. Their job is to make sure that when everybody else does their work, the software engineers and the integrators and the networking people, when all of that is done and your business is up and running, the security guy comes in behind everybody and says, okay, look, let's take a peek at what's happening under the covers, how it's happening, who can do what, how come they're allowed to have access to do it, right? That's called an audit. So even in the security sector, we got people that do security audits and security practitioners and people that implement the security, right? So there's a lot going on when we talk about the different parts of IT, even the different parts of security, right? So let's take a minute and talk about what you're going to do when you get into the security field. When you talk about computers and networking, the security field itself is tough, right? Most of the time, in order to even be a part of this part of the field, you have to have many years, at least 5 years of experience under your belt doing general IT work, building computers from scratch, imaging them, troubleshooting them, building servers, networking the servers, monitoring the servers, updating the servers, clustering the servers, all of those things. And if all the words I just said make absolutely no sense to you, the security field is way down your list of things that you're going to be able to do anytime soon. But for those of you that know exactly what I'm talking about and you're ready to get into that security thing, right? You're ready to start taking a look at what else can I do? I want to implement security, or I want to stop the hackers, right? There's a lot of things you can do in this area of the IT sector. So let's talk about some of the certifications. We'll talk about some of the ones that I hold, right, that are specific to security. I hold 19 information technology related certifications. So not all of them are security. Um, some of them are old, like the old CompTIA A plus, right? That's the first cert that most people in this field ever get, right? It's all about, I know how to deal with the hardware of your computer. I know what it is. I know what a motherboard looks like. I know how to plug, I know how to build a computer from scratch, right? I know how to plug the components in, that sort of thing, all the way up to some high-end certifications that I do hold. So one of the first ones that we'll talk about is one of the ones that I do hold, and that's called the Certified Ethical Hacker, CEH. Yep, it's a real thing. And the whole idea of that particular certification is I get trained and I use the tools and I understand the ways that hackers do their thing so that I can go and build defenses against those hackers to the best of my ability, right? I can layer things. I understand that their mentality, right? Their methodology, and I'm able to build some security layers against that. You have other ones that are called like the CompTIA Security Plus, which is vendor neutral, and it covers a lot of like firewalls and servers. Not so much as the mentality behind it, but more like the physical parts of security, the different components, right? You've got what's called a certified penetration testing engineer or consultant. I think they're two separate levels of the same certification. But a pen tester is basically somebody that um, starts from the outside and tries to hack in, right? But your company or the person that you're hacking knows that you're doing it. They hired you to do it. And that way you can find the security holes that they don't know about so that they can fix it, right? So you're helping them identify their flaws that they're unaware of. So that's what a pen tester does. And there are several pen testing certifications. There are, GIAC has a certified pen tester. I think it's called a GPen. So there's a few, right? Um, I think the Certified Expert Penetration Tester, CEPT, even when you get your Certified Ethical Hacker, you get what's called a CPT, a Certified Penetration Tester, that is an add-on cert for an extra 50 questions or something. I forget. It's been so long. I got mine back in 2009. So there are a lot when we talk about certifications, and those are just from the hacking side. Then you have what's called the CISM and the CE. I'm sorry, I'm going to call it CEH again, but the CISM, which is a Certified Information Security Manager. So that's for somebody that wants to kind of go up the ladder a little bit, right? They want to kind of be in charge of a security team. You have what's called a CISSP, which is pretty common these days. That's a Certified Information Systems Security Professional. Usually those guys are also in leadership roles. I'm actually sitting for that test here in just a couple months myself. Big test, a lot of questions, a lot of hours, a lot of studying, so which is why I haven't taken it yet. You have the GSEC, which is SANS, has their Security Essentials test, right? Their certification called a GSEC, GSEC. So all of these certifications, a bunch of alphabet soup, right? But they all kind of focus on the same thing, yet a little different, right? Some of it's talking about process driven. Some of it is about management and policies and procedures, and if this happens, how would we recover from it? How would we audit what happened so we can track it down? How do we prevent it in the future from happening again? What are our recovery options if we do get hacked and we lose data or something else? How do we recover from that type of loss or that type of attack? So you have those people in the security field. And then you have people that are kind of the doers, right? They do the pen testing, or they go in and configure the software or the physical devices, or they go in and configure policies. So even though you might not go out and buy a $30,000 Palo Alto firewall, right? Or you might not buy some of this new software, you can still go in and tweak your existing systems to offer less of a target for the hackers. So you can go in and close ports on a server, or close down some SMB, so that the crypto type of viruses and malware can't jump from one server to another or one computer to another, locking up your data. So a lot of things that you can do as a security person that what we call hardens your footprint, right? It takes what you're doing or what you already have and makes it a little bit harder to attack and a little bit less juicy of an attack, right? And then you have the people that are like the hackers, right? The certified ethical hackers like myself. We want to go out and we would kind of want to see, we want to tweak stuff, we want to play with stuff, we want to see, hey, I never thought of this. If I do it this way, what happens on that device or on that server? Or one of the most fun things about this part of the field is what we call social engineering, right? And so the whole idea of social engineering is you're hacking people, not things, right? So as a social engineer, my job would be to get you to give me information you should not be telling me. Whether I send you an email and I trick you into clicking something, right? And then you type information in, or I trick you into clicking something that downloads a piece of malware behind the scenes and starts stealing data that you don't even know is being stolen. Or maybe I come to your company, right, and I pose as some official type of person, right, and your person that is at your front door is easily convinced that I should be allowed in, right? And I'm able to gain physical access to your building. If I'm able to do that, I can start plugging devices in different places, kind of hidden, right? And then I can start stealing data from your traffic over a longer period of time. Maybe I do something as simple as I walk in to, say, a Kinko's or a FedEx nowadays, and I hand them my thumb drive and ask them to print off my Word document for me. And they print it off, and I'm just fine. But while they printed off that document, I was able to download some type of malware to their system, and now maybe I can start stealing their customers' credit card information, right? So a lot of things that a social engineer tries to do to get the person to tell them information that they should not be telling. I might even be able to come in and say, you know what, I meant to send so-and-so an email, and I thought his email was, Dave at dtig.net, but it keeps bouncing back, and I'm not sure why. And a lot of people will say, oh, no, Dave's email is Dave H at dtig.net. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, besides getting that email address of that person, guess what else I got? I now know the format in which all of your email addresses are formatted, right? So in that example, it might be first name, last initial. Sometimes it's first initial, last name at whatever, .com. So now I know how to send an email to your entire organization. So instead of sending one trick email to you, now I can send a trick email to your entire organization. What's the chances that if you have 50 people and everybody gets the exact same email that says click here because your password's out of date, right? How many of those 50 people are going to click that email? Well, even if only 5 or 6, even if only one clicks that email and they give me their information, I now can remote into your network and go to town on stealing the rest of your data, right? Or compromising your system so even if I can't steal your data, you can't access your data, right? So a lot of things happen here, from simply trying to get somebody to confirm an email address for me, right? One simple question at the front desk can lead me down a path of being able to figure out what's what, sending in the fake emails, getting somebody to click on that fake email, and then boom, now I've got access. And it all started with one simple question at the front door. So a lot of things happen in situations when it comes to the security field, right? So the topic of this particular episode was all about certifications and which ones do I get. And the real answer is it all just depends on what you want to do in this field. And as many people will argue, certifications don't mean anything. Many people are great test takers and don't know crap about how to actually do what they're doing, which is why the security side of this field is so much different than the rest of the information technology field and the certifications that they offer. Most of the security certifications require you to prove that you have a certain requisite years of experience doing security type of stuff, right? So like the CISSP, you got to prove 5 years of security work. And you're going to say, yo, Dave the IT guy, if I don't have a certification and nobody hires me, how am I supposed to get the experience, right? Kind of the whole like credit. I can't get credit if you won't give me a credit card. Well, that's when you really just have to work, and find a niche or a position that works for you, right? You've got to be able to find that entry-level position that says, okay, I'm going to be a server administrator, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to learn and understand how to harden a server, how to harden my network environment a little bit better, how to make my server shares less susceptible to being hacked. And by doing that, you're developing those skills. You're researching, because when you're learning how to harden a server, I guarantee you're also learning how to harden a router, right? And you're also learning, well, if I harden a router and I do this, when a hacker comes in, right? So you are building that skill set. And while it's a slow process, That's why these some of these certifications require 3 to 5 years, because it requires you to they want you to just do the work, right? They want you to have to research and learn, or have the opportunity to be taught if you're in such a position where you can learn or be mentored by somebody else. So a lot of opportunities exist. The security field of IT is probably the most difficult to get in, but once you're into this sector of IT, it's hugely rewarding. It is so much fun. There's so many things that you can do, and so many things to learn. And literally every single day, we all hear about new hacks that come out. And like, wow, how did they figure out how to do that, right? Or what kind of person sit in a dark room thinking of this for a month before they actually did it, right? So you just stay busy for the rest of your life if you end up in the security field. You will certainly find no dull moment, if that's what you want. So that's it. I mean, I don't know what else to say about the security field. If you're not in this field, there's not much I can say that is going to make sense to you, other than it is exciting. And if you have any kind of like sleuth, Inspector Gadget, you want to kind of get under the covers a little bit, and you want to kind of track how did they do that, then this is probably the right section of IT to be in. If you want to make a lot of money, this is the right section of IT to be in. If you want to make a lot of money and not put forth any effort, this is not the right section of IT to be in, because it certainly takes time and effort to develop those skill sets. But if you are that type of person where you can read and watch videos, or just start doing things until you figure it out, you'll certainly enjoy this sector of IT. You'll certainly make some good money, and really have a good time doing it. So hopefully this has given you some information. I hope that that you don't just focus on earning a certification. However, at this stage of the game, the certifications are a little bit more important in security than they are in, say, servers, right? Because a lot of people can build servers. Not a lot of people can trace a hacker. But I can tell you that I can do it. But without a hacker, it's hard to prove it. But if I've got the certifications, that's a little bit of proof that shows, yep, I can talk the talk and walk the walk, right? And that's why certifications in the security part of IT are a little bit more important, and a little bit more valuable than, say, maybe an MCSE or an A+, right? So, all right. Well, that's going to do it for this particular episode of Dave the IT Guy. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to tweet me at DTIGCINCY. Find me at dtig.net. iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Facebook. If you can't find me, you didn't look. But I do appreciate your time. Thank you, and until next time, I am Dave the IT Guy.